commission meeting he's been to.
Hmm.
It's the first commission.
I think it's 7:30. Certainly have a quorum of here tonight. This is only one, maybe Juan will come in a little bit. Certainly welcome everybody. Can everybody hear me? I'll make sure that up front that everybody can hear. Certainly have a quorum. Welcome everybody here, and we have an organizational meeting, and I'll turn it over to you, Austin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay, all right. Do we have any nominations for chairman? For planning commission?
Larkin's like, do we have?
Nomination for chairman.
Yes.
Lonnie Moyer.
Second. Yeah, that quick, didn't it?
Okay,
That's what happens when you do a good job.
yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, I'll turn it back over to you, Mr. Chairman.
Agreement on that,
Thank you.
right?
Appreciate that, but I'm just a facilitator. I have no more power than y'all do, other than I have to sign some things. Get my name on the line, but nomination open for vice chair.
Nominate Roy Easter. Second.
Rory Easter's been nominated in second. Any more? Get a motion to accept with acclamation for Roy Easter for vice president or vice chair. Moving him on up.
Yeah, I mean, we can.
Make a motion, we accept.
All right, all in favor, making over saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Congratulations, Roy.
Thank you.
In your packet, establishing the dates, times, and places. It's normally the fourth Monday evening. I think we had one conflict with a holiday. And normally, according to the bylaws, we move that to the following,
Yeah,
would
Memorial
be
Day.
Tuesday. Instead of Monday, it'd be a Tuesday. Other than that, does anyone have any or with that date?
No.
No, we'll just put it in the minutes. That's what it'll be. And subcommittees and terms, that was in the packet also. It's not set in stone. If you'd like to come to all of them, feel free. So we would like for you to kind of participate in them if possible. CIP should be finishing up. We ever get everything back from VDOT. And that'll kind of be a closed one for a while till we have to update. Anyone like to change or just let us know? And we certainly can move you from one subcommittee to another. I guess at this time, I'd like to welcome Parker here, our new Parker Harding, and I'd also like to thank Travis for all the work he's done while he was on here. He worked a whole lot in the CIP and a lot of the other committees. So appreciate all the hard work you did while you were on it. Approval of minutes.
Mr. Chairman.
Sorry.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the meeting dates, times, and places.
All right. Motion's been made. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor, make a note by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Dave. Any other things that we needed a motion on? I don't believe so. Moving on to approval of minutes. Our meeting was October 27th. The last time. Looked over, I don't see anything that's out of line, but what's your pleasure? If you want to look over a few minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
So motion made and second. All in favor of approval, make a note by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Do not know of any old business. Anyone have any old business? Know of? Moving on to new business.
Well, before you move on, one question we were talking about a minute ago. Where are we at on this comprehensive plan? We haven't heard anything from that lady since December or January or something.
Yeah, so I think I sent an email out recently or last week on that. VDOT had one more change to make on that.
You don't want to change it.
Yeah, so there's a map that I sent to you guys. If you have any issue with that, let me know tonight. If not, I'm gonna tell the CRC, let them know tomorrow if there were no comments on that, and then that should be the last thing. So they're hoping to be able to finally get it next month in March for public hearing. We've just been waiting on VDOT to finalize their chapter.
Any other questions about CIP? I mean,
Yeah.
comprehensive? Been working on what, 15, 16 months now.
Years. That's good.
It'll be time for a new one by the time we
Yeah.
get this one.
Well, any more, before we move into new business? Any more questions? All right, we have a rezoning request. Mr. Copeland. Would you like to speak to that? Austin?
Yeah, I'll go over the staff report. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this is a rezoning request from RR3 rural residential to R3 residential for property on Richardson Road, tax map 40-71A. Total area is 79.12 acres. The applicant is seeking the rezoning to create 3 new parcels. The applicant is the contract purchaser of the property and intends to create 1 parcel for himself and then 1 parcel for each of his 2 daughters. And they're intended to have single-family homes constructed as primary residences. The applicant does not want to wait the 5 years that would be required for a family division without rezoning the property. So that's why he's seeking the rezoning of the property. There is a plat of the property included in your packet, along with a draft of the proposed subdivision. And each of the parcels would meet the acreage and frontage requirements of the R3 zoning district, including 1 proposed flag lot. So also on the staff report are sections of the comprehensive plan relevant to the R3 zoning district and other sections of the plan. In considering a rezoning request, you're among other things, you should take into consideration that the location, nature, and extent of the proposed activity or use and possible adverse effects of the rezoning. So with that, the staff recommendation would be that since this is to create 3 new parcels for single-family dwellings, that the rezoning recommendation would be to approve. There is a existing subdivision of 8 parcels adjacent to the subject parcel just to the north with similar lot sizes to those proposed. So based on the nature of the surrounding area and the uses allowed in the R3 zoning district being similar to those in the RR3 zoning district, staff would recommend approval of the request. I would note that there are no proffers submitted. So with the application, so all uses and development rights allowed within this zoning district would be eligible with the rezoning. And then you also have the options there for actions from the commission.
Thank you. Any questions, Paul? You said you're breaking into 3 tracks. There would be 4 tracks, right?
Yeah,
3
brand
house
new
tracks plus the
plus the
parent track.
Correct. Yeah.
And the parent track could not be split later, right?
There are no proffers submitted, so there would not.
There's no sure.
Yeah, it could be split later if desired. There are no proffers submitted
right.
to restrict that.
Not timing for development of the 3 houses? Any idea?
I would expect the applicant can probably speak to that more, but I would expect it would be relatively soon as he doesn't want to wait the 5 years to do the family division.
Does he go through the subdivision ordinance for this, or is this family divisions?
Not.
This would be, the rezoning would allow him to go through the subdivision ordinance rather than doing the family division, because being a new purchaser, you'd have to wait 5 years to do the family.
Okay, so he's gonna go through the subdivision ordinance.
Correct.
Okay.
One question for Austin, well, public hearing. All right, I'll open public hearing. For the request. Rezoning. Anybody like to speak, please come forward. State your name and address. Anybody like to speak, come forward, state your name and address. Hi, folks.
I appreciate the opportunity to speak for the commission. I'm Todd Copeland. I'm the person who's making the request. I grew up in southwestern Virginia in the Appalachian Mountains. Found out that there weren't many jobs out there after I got out of school. And so I made my way to Richmond. My wife and I built a house 30 years ago in Chesterfield, raised my two daughters. And Chesterfield ain't what it used to be, right? So we're looking for a place. We believe that our grandchildren need a way to grow up where they can have some animals to take care of and pull some food out of the ground. And we found a place that we think is going to fit that really nicely here. So that's the reason I made the request. My oldest granddaughter is 8 years old. So if I waited the 5 years, she would be a teenager before I'd be able to do that. So that's the reason I'm going through this process. It's a bit of a hassle, but it'll be worth it. So I appreciate your consideration. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Any questions right now? Let's go. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak for or against? Anyone else like to speak for or against? Did any come in, Austin? Anything come in one way or the other?
Some questions, but no for or against after answering.
All right, well, I'll close the public here and turn it back to commission members. Any more questions or comments or motions as to going to the board of supervisors or denial?
It seems like the rezoning is gonna put him in a position to go through the proper channels to follow the rules of the subdivision ordinance. And I think that's the proper thing to do. I make a motion, we approve it.
Motion's been made for approval from us to the board of supervisors. Second,
Looking at the way the plats are around it, there are some to the north of it that have been split already, but most of the area around it is still rural.
Yeah.
And when you look at what the R3 provides for versus our R3, that's where we're going to concentrate most of our development. And that's quite a ways out from where the village is and the area where we want to develop that. And understanding the what wants to be done with the property, we got to look at it from the perspective of what can be done with the property in the future, not necessarily what the intents are right now. So I would move to deny.
any other discussion further?
I do have a question for Mr. Copeland. You are aware that the property across Richardson Road has already been rezoned for industrial, right?
Yes, sir. I am.
Okay,
Oh,
Yeah, the industrial park
just want to make
is
sure you knew that.
right there.
Yeah.
I
So
mean, we actually do have that set up for development in the new comp. That's what I said. This references the old comp plan. The new comp plan actually is different.
It hadn't been approved yet.
Yeah, I know.
do we
I know.
want residential to pop up beside the M1 industrial district?
I don't know.
You know,
We need all the discussion we can get. That's what I want to
As
say.
long as he was aware.
That would be his
this
choice,
possibility
right.
Coming out, I just want to make sure he knew that.
What's the current zone?
R3.
so once you split a property like that, unfortunately, now that allows for more, you've done it once, now we do it again. It's kind of a leapfrog to be able to rezone other properties in the area now that we have more rezoning there attached to it. So there's other implications there as well.
We did have, when we worked for the new industrial park, I know all the neighbors up in that road area were not too happy about it, or speaking about it against those lots that are already presently in there. But the new comp plan does kind of put
Right.
that up 360 in that area as far as growth,
Mhm.
with possibly houses set behind development along 360.
Mhm.
which will come before us whenever the comp plan comes up for public hearing.
That will be the new comp plan,
The new comp
the
plan.
new comp plan that we have. So, you know, but that's still open for discussion on the comp plan, right? The new comp plan. So,
Any more questions or concern from Mr. Copeland or Austin, or if you do have a motion on to pass it on, have a second before we vote. Any more discussion? Motion been made and second. All in favor of passing it to the Board of Supervisors to, from our perspective, for approval, make it known by saying, well, I guess we need to raise our hand. For it, raise your hand now. Against? Did you get all that, Austin? Motion carries majority at this point. Now it'll come before the Board of Supervisors, their next meeting, the third Wednesday,
Fourth one.
fourth Wednesday,
Mhm.
for their final say. We just make a recommendation. And you should be getting a letter from the county about that meeting.
would like to make one more closing comment on that, though. I know
Go
we
ahead.
voted on it, but, you know, if we continually bypass certain things like the family cuts and things like that, then what's the point in having that as a ordinance?
All right,
So,
we'll make a note of that. Second request we have here is ordinance text amendment, a tow lot and junkyard. This is really a definition, specifying the difference between them. This came up October or
Yeah.
been discussed a while, and it's gone to the attorney. Come back to us, so. This actually was handed back to us from the Board of Supervisors. All right, Austin.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, as you stated, it started at the planning commission, then went to the zoning committee. This definition has been reviewed by the zoning committee and the county attorney. So the county attorney did look at it. I think he had a couple of tweaks from the 3 years to 2 years, and item D, I think, was his main thing that was changed there. But you see the definition of tow lot here would be a use that provides vehicle towing services and temporary storage for tow vehicles, provided that A, vehicle shall not remain on the property for more than 1 year. B, that stored vehicles shall not be dismantled or demolished. C, that screening shall be provided to wholly shield the vehicles from view from adjacent properties and public right-of-ways. And D, that tow lots in existence at the time of adoption of the ordinance establishing this use are not situated in districts allowing this as a by right use under such ordinance are to be considered valid non-conforming uses as long as they are otherwise in compliance with the zoning ordinance. Further, in order to maintain valid non-conforming use status, such pre-existing tow lot shall screen the operation or use on any side open to view from a public right-of-way by a masonry wall, a uniformly painted solid board fence, or an evergreen hedge at least 6 feet in height by no later than 2 years after the adoption of such ordinance. So this ordinance would allow tow lots as a permitted use by special exception in the A5, RP5, and B1 zoning districts, and as a permitted use in the M1 and M2 industrial zoning districts. This ordinance would also, again, add that requirement for screening to the existing definition of a junkyard as well. Salvage and junkyards would be allowed as a permitted use in the M1 and M2 zoning districts as well. They are currently only allowed as a permitted use by special exception in the M2 zoning districts, but we heard that a lot of times the tow lots can go hand in hand with a salvage or junkyard at times, so wanted to at least match that up in the industrial districts.
Any questions to Austin? No, this doesn't. Didn't realize there's so much paperwork for tow lots. Not so much junkyard, but tow lots. And this has been tossed around, so this is kind of what the definition is.
what What do we have? I guess we pulled this total line information from surrounding counties. Did you put that together, Austin?
Yeah, yes, with the help of the
They're
zoning
not-
committee and
Yeah.
county attorney.
Do the surrounding counties around us to the west and south, do they have, that we know of, do they have ordinances for two lots?
There were several that we found did not have
Anything,
anything.
Right. It's just junkyard or
Yeah.
scrapyard type ordinances. And
Mine didn't even have that.
yeah, and then when you look at places like New Kent, there's no stipulation on how long a vehicle can remain there, or for section B, the state of dismantlement or whether they're demolished or not. So it's open. Did we lean particularly heavy on any particular area for our verbiage? Or
I think it was trying to find sort of a compromise between the.
You almost had to get a compromise, because even the 1 year, a lot of discussion that came up from people that own the junkyards now in the county is a lot of vehicles have to sit there for a long period of time before they can get to court to be able to move.
right,
He said that's the
that's
problem.
the kicker.
So, you kind of put a date in there, and then each one will have to work somewhat separately. But we didn't want a scrapyard or a junkyard along with a tow lot. That's one reason the definitions trying to come out of what is the total definition. So, because even the tow people said it's a lot of times you can't even find out who owns the car for a while
Right, right, exactly.
in wrecks. And if they're totally demolished, it's set there for quite a while before
Yes.
they can get permission to release it. So it's kind of goes back, this is kind of a start point, and then it's up to Austin or that division to oversee it. Any more questions for Austin, or we're open for public comment? Or open for public hearing? If not, I'll open the public hearing to speak for or against. State your name, address.
Come on, y'all.
They're not very shy.
David Holly, address is 22-131 Judithville Road. Hey, Austin, can you read that back one more time? Like,
Here, do you want my copy?
yeah, because we changed, I think you changed all the time periods. All right, so,
We tried to make it broad enough.
all right, so
To
we're
help
gonna
you.
stay with the 1 year, correct? Is that what you're saying? All right, is there gonna be anything in there that says unless litigation or it's in the court system? That we talked about the 2 meetings ago, we were here, we
Yeah.
brought that up. So there's nothing here for that. Can we put something in that or amend it? Because
Yeah.
I've personally had stuff go through litigation, and if it's a bankruptcy or if it's like a repossession and a crash or even a fatality, sometimes these cars get held up with the lawyers. I have no control. I can't get rid of the car. The sheriff's office, we had one, they put a hold on and it kept appealing, and it went on for 9 months. We gotta, I want to be covered, because I don't want to be at a year, y'all are coming to me. And then what is going to be the fine, and what are we going to do here? There's nothing. This is it's just pretty broad. So we really need to work on that. Then the thing about the stored vehicles shall not be dismounted or demolished. All right. So obviously y'all know that I have a demolisher's license. I think I'm the only one here in the record business that has it. What are we going to do with that? Also run a shop. So there's 2 different things here now. So what are we going to do about that? I don't disagree with the shielding from the right of ways. I don't disagree with any of that. I agree with that. Then you're also down here talking about, we're going into the salvage and junkyards. So once again, I have a salvage license. You've signed it for multiple years. You keep renewing my license through the state. The state's got it. The DEQ has it. What are we going to do about that? You're going to try to shut me down? or do I get to keep going? It's a valid point. I thought we addressed it 2 meetings ago.
Would that fall under the any existing thing as of when it goes in? You would have a grandfather type clause for that.
Okay, so that is on the record that I would be grandfathered for that. So
Now, the first one, you like a point E or F, whatever you want to call it, in there for a little more litigation,
yeah,
if there is
I
litigation.
think litigation would be the term that we could use. And I can only speak for me, but I can tell you, I know Clyde, Jeff, Bernards, all the guys are in the same boat. We get these cars all the time. And some of us, we have to hold on to them forever. We don't want them, but we have to because we can't get rid of them by law. When you look at some of this stuff and how we come about this, and Prince Edward is our closest neighbor. They don't have anything to do with this. They don't have this. This here, the definition is like, if we went by state code, it would be much more cleaner and much more clear, but we haven't went by state code. So back to what I'm saying, as a tow lot, if we're looking at what you're putting down here, you're trying to regulate us again. You're trying to regulate the towing industry through zoning. So if that's what's going to happen, then we need to create a tow board. Keep saying that. I think this needs more work, and I think we need to honestly sit down and really work this out. These towing yards and these record companies up here, they're not going nowhere. They can't go nowhere. If they get rid of us, who's going to clean the roads up?
Any commission members have questions for him?
No, I just have questions internally, but.
I made a few notations here.
Yes, sir. So you moved us down to 2 years from 3 years to come in compliance also. Is there any major reason on why we're going to do that?
He's talking about the 2 years to build the hedge or.
Yes. Because if we start planting hedges today to get 6 foot, unless it's a leaving cipher, so we're never going to get there.
I think you don't want to extend it too long, nothing ever gets done.
I agree, but once again, the compliance and y'all checking would be
I would
a
think,
lot of stuff there.
I would think anything like that would be kind of like the solar farm. You put trees there and you hope to get there pretty quick. You don't put a tree that's not going to take
Right.
forever to grow.
The leaving cipher is about the only thing to grow that fast.
Yeah. And they're not too great for longevity, worst part. I don't see
Correct.
cedars are really fast. Cedar's about the only thing grow with. All right, appreciate it, and we'll certainly take that into
Yep.
account. Thank you. You can take. Anyone else like to speak for or against? Anyone else like to speak for or against? State your name and address, please, sir.
Travis Barnard, 12401 Little Patrick Road. I was curious on the part that said non-conforming, considered valid non-conforming uses as long as they are otherwise in compliance with the zoning ordinance. Like he's talking about if they have salvage and stuff, other things you do. It's like 2 things you might not be in compliance with, and that seems like that would cross out. You would not otherwise be in compliance, is my understanding. Are you getting it? I understand what I'm saying.
What zone are you in?
I'd be one.
You're B1. So what he's saying is salvage and junkyards on here are not allowed in B1. So he would be out of compliance. There's nothing
He
in
would
here
otherwise be out of
about the
compliance.
salvage and junkyards.
Other than the grandfather.
But the grandfather's only about a tow lot. I mean, the way I read it,
Right,
it's
that's
only
what
about
I'm
the tow lot. It doesn't say anything. It says as long as you're otherwise in compliance with zoning, which they wouldn't be because they don't meet the zoning for any of the others.
Right.
Yep.
Comment on that.
That's what we have public hearings for us. Get information up front that we didn't have to know. But we can always come back, table it, update it, bring it back. But if we don't have the information up front, we're kind of sitting in a bed. All right. Yes, ma'am.
Kelly Walker, 9200 South Amelia Avenue. And I have a question, a curiosity. What is the logic behind a salvage yard, a tow yard, let's see, not being permitted to dismantle vehicles?
Only tow lot, not salvage.
Yeah, I don't know which one.
Yeah, okay.
Tow
Tow lot.
lots are basically just to store cars. Salvage or junkyards would be to dismantle and sell parts off of. That's the main difference.
In other words, the tow yard normally takes them off the highway, gets them out of the site, and they sit there until
A choice is made.
whoever
right?
owns them either comes picks them up or the court.
So in other words, there's an expectation that those would not be dual purpose. They simply is an expectation that there would be separate facilities.
Well, in
Tow and
David's
salvage.
situation, he's licensed for both of them, so he could do both.
And you have to
Seems
get a
logical.
state license for that.
Except the zoning issue.
Would you like to answer that question?
Well, she brought up a valid point. So we have the, in the towing industry, we also have to have a salvage license. So when we get rid of the cars, we use the salvage license to get around paying personal property on the vehicles. Once we take possession through court orders or MLS, the salvage license picks up, so we can go get rid of the cars at the scrapyard. So tow lot and salvage yard, they have to go hand in hand because we have to have that license. We already do. All of us have to have it through the state. That's how we get rid of cars. This is like the second time I've said this. They have to go hand in hand. Because we can go buy cars. I mean, you see the signs, cash paid for junk cars, $250. Well, that person generally has a salvage license. They take them back, they'll store them in the tow lot or the salvage yard or the storage lot, however we want to call this, until they get enough to make a load, and then they haul. So it's a gray area. I really think we need to sit down with state paperwork and how this business works and the industry works, and then let's come up with a real plan. I am willing to do that, and I think anybody else in this business is willing to do it.
You mentioned about state code. Can you tell me, I'm not on the committee, the zoning committee, so can you tell me? Okay. I was just curious what the major differences were between this and what you felt like was more clear as state code, but.
Anyone else like to speak for or against?
Glad I was with it.
I have a question about me
State your
being,
name and address. I have to know this first. Even though we know who you are.
I'm Clyde Warden. What else you need to know?
Address.
21430 Farmers Lane, Jetersville.
All right.
I've been in business for ever since '88. And I never seen or visualized having to go through all this. It's like there were no rules, or what rules were there were being taken care of by itself. And it looks like a lot of stipulations on stuff that, it's been going on for a long time. And it's going to take more than a few minutes to work out the problems.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else like to speak for or against? We get any comments come in county that not here? Then I'll close the public hearing. Turn it back to commission members. What's your pleasure? Send it back to zoning
Yes.
to work it a little different. I think the main reason this has come up is we had one that wanted to put it in the courthouse
Mm-hmm.
right on 360, old 360, and I think that was one reason it's popped out of the ground.
I just have one question for my own knowledge. So all the counties that don't have one, what are they tying it into?
Nothing.
Business license.
Good question. Yeah. I mean, in Virginia, if you don't have a use in your zoning ordinance, then it's technically not allowed. So
Okay.
yeah. That this is trying to come up with a creative solution to a problem that came up.
The ones I did see when I poked around in some of the areas that were similar to ours was they didn't have restrictions as far as time limits or dismantle, demolish, things like that. It was a little more wide open. It was more concerned about just shielding
Draining.
from view.
Right.
Right. Which, I mean,
Yeah, is the real issue.
Yeah, I think-
Healing and I guess not in
is
certain areas.
and what would be the problem with that? I mean, I guess
right in the courthouse.
Well, if you had one in the courthouse.
I mean, the shielding thing's been around for a while.
but if it's shielded, what is that?
They made, Buddy Newton put that fence up 40 or 50 years ago down there to hide the junkyards, you know.
I don't know. It just
Yeah,
came back
real.
to board of supervisors and
Yeah.
we got to clean it up.
I was just curious. I was like, if it's shielded, then what does it matter if it's in the courthouse? I don't see a rush. To get
Well,
a
I
whole bunch
guess
of
a
businesses put up there.
possibility was if houses were built around,
Well, we're trying to build them out in Jetersville.
but I'm saying,
I think Mr. Colley's got a valid point about something gets tied up in litigation, especially these days. Everybody's looking to sue somebody over something.
A year goes by.
And,
Man,
he's
definitely got a point there.
Yeah,
My dog
that's
was
too
stolen,
short. Yeah.
and it took
allow
near a year
provision
for
for
us
that
to get
anyway,
it back
at
in
the very
there.
least.
And I do think maybe the zoning committee should maybe think about inviting some of them or getting their
Oh, yeah.
feedback, because it sounds like they did try to provide that feedback and it wasn't.
And if you get rid of it after a year, you just got another one sliding into that spot. So, I mean, it doesn't really matter.
The other thing is the two things together. I mean, this says tow lots. This says salvage and junkyards aren't even permitted in B1, but the tow lots are in B1 and the tow lots are in concert with the salvage yard. So we're kind of putting them in non-compliance automatically by saying that you can't have a salvage yard in the same zone as a tow lot when they're one facility.
This needs
So
to be
his existing facility would be part in, part out, or at least the way it reads here. Maybe I'm not understanding, but.
I think there was an attempt with all of this to try to make two separate uses because salvage can and often does go with tow lots, but there are tow lots that bring cars in and then
So you're saying like his would be called salvage and not tow?
if a vehicle is being dismantled, it's definitely salvage, not just a tow lot by this definition of a tow lot.
Right.
And
but
the attempt was,
that the current ones are in B1. Here we're saying they're not even allowed in B1.
yeah, in his case, he has
We're
a,
not all.
yeah, in his case, he has a salvage license. So
Right.
he's allowed to continue that use.
Okay, well, maybe that needs, okay.
Yeah,
they're
the
fine.
question would be
Somebody that
new
didn't-
tow lot, new
Right,
properties wanting to start a business. Would you want them to have a junkyard in certain zoning districts or
Right.
not? Or have this definition of a tow lot in those districts or not?
I just think it needs some clarification on that.
any more questions? What's your pleasure?
I recommend we send it back to zoning.
Motion been made and seconded to send it back to zoning for at least consideration and maybe more. Yeah. Any more discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion to send it back to zoning? Reanalyze it, make a note of saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Go back to zoning. we'll get in contact with y'all when zoning come. And we'll try to get what the state points are for both of them to Austin, so he could get the committee members something before we meet.
Try to bring somebody in from state tourism board out of Chesterfield that runs the board, the president of the board,
All right.
and that way he can help navigate.
Chesterfield's one of the houses that have.
All right.
Chesterfield's one of the houses that doesn't have.
Well, we gotta listen to somebody, but we need to know more. We don't know, kind of like dairy farming. I know all dairy farm. That's all I've done my life. So I have an idea there. I don't know anything about junkyards, though. I got plenty of tractors I probably just junked and they shouldn't be where they are, but
But you're still using those.
Yeah, I might
I'm
use it
still
someday.
using a lot of them, stealing for parts, you know. But so I think we need a little more information. Yeah. All right. Moving on to next order of business is ordinance on sign controls. You gonna speak to that often?
Yeah, so this would just change one section of the sign ordinance, as you see there in the report, to change it from right now, attached signage on a building is 1 square foot per linear foot of property frontage. This would change that to 1.5 square foot per linear foot of each building facade, up to a maximum of 150 square feet. Also provided that a minimum total sign area of 25 square feet is permitted. This change would allow for more signage for businesses that have limited road frontage, and it ties the signage area to the building facade rather than the property frontage of the property for attached signage. And it's more similar to requirements of other localities in the area.
Any questions for Austin before we open the public hearing?
Was,
This came up because
I have one question, yeah.
somebody
kind of.
had a sign.
Was there a
that
complaint?
was already bigger
Okay.
than we had.
There's a newer business in the area that needs more signage.
It needs more?
Yes.
Oh, needs.
Well,
Gotcha.
wants more.
wants more signage.
Okay.
Or is requesting more.
Requesting more. This is, it's not adding a lot more, but it ties it more to the building itself. The current ordinance ties it to the street frontage, and it really
Right. I see
doesn't
what you
make
mean. If
sense.
you didn't have the street frontage, you could still have a big building in that.
Yeah, I'll own the building.
Right, correct.
Food
Yeah.
line, shopping center have road frontage.
Food Line Shopping Center, great example. That shopping center, great example. That shopping center does not have very much street frontage. But so this ties it to the facade of the actual unit rather than the street frontage. of the
Right,
property.
yeah. Who we not to measure their sound? I'm kidding. It's one of those things I would think enforcing would be a challenge.
I think it's the 5th time we've had a sign thing come before us. Any more questions, Austin, or before we open the public hearing? Now I open a public hearing to speak for or against amendment on the sign control size. Anyone like to speak for or against
Nobody wants that.
changing anything besides the sign? Just cleaning it up a little bit. Anyone like to speak? Seeing and hearing none, I'll close the public hearing and turn it back to the commission member. What's your pleasure? Any more questions, comments, concerns?
Make a motion to pass it.
Motion been made. I got a
Yes.
second. Motion made and second. Parker second. Any more comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor of passing it on, board supervisor, make a note by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. That ends the public hearings. CIP Comprehensive Improvement Plan, we met a week ago, Thursday, I think it was. I don't know, meeting run together. And Eric, our county administrator, has approached it in a different way than we've been doing it. I think since I've been on this is the 5th time we've changed the format as the way we approach it. This one was a whole lot simpler. Eric got to meet all the department heads and kind of fished a lot of things out that it took us, as far as the committee, a whole day to pretty much cover. We normally will get a book, that has all the requests. I told them I didn't think we needed that book. There is on the website, and also Austin has a copy of it if you'd like to see any of the things. But he pretty much told them approximately how much money we had that we could use, looking at the projects and what they thought. He thought that he pushed them to find out what they thought they really needed. And that's kind of what we stayed within that budget. So it's a little different approach. So he'll give you an update on that. Glad to have you.
All right, thank you, appreciate it. Gotta do something more. I gave the presentation. I guess it was Thursday, I was kind of over here, so I feel like I'm a little more engaged from standing here versus behind the podium. So I'm Eric Paul, new county administrator, for those that haven't met yet. Position back in April, and one of my first meetings I had was the board was discussing the CIP and some changes they want to see made for the upcoming year. And it's almost been a year, so been enacted some of those changes that the board made, and so I'll jump right in. So first off, I want to thank staff. Austin did a great job helping me out, put this together, and was my second set of eyes to catch all the mistakes that I was making and corrections of that.
Oh, they can't. hear
They
you.
can't hear you.
You just gotta hold the mic, probably, yeah, like your own voice, like the voice.
Okay,
Down.
is that a little bit better? I'll try not to shout into it like that. Try and keep it like this. Okay. All right. So wanted to thank Austin for his help in helping me out, catching the mistakes, and corrections and things, and that attention to detail. And always good to have another set of eyes look at something like this when a lot of numbers involved. And so he did a great job with that. And so did the staff overall, putting the time in to really come up with what I think is a very good plan for us for not just this upcoming year, but for future years as well. And enjoyed working with everybody. And it was great to get to know some of the staff that I don't see on a regular basis and other agencies, and get a chance to work with them on their needs. All right, so some changes to the CIP. So like I mentioned, we changed the process a little bit. I met with the agency heads, directors directly to talk with them about what they had in mind back in the fall. Then once we started this process, they got some instructions and I believe provided some pretty thorough information. And so that kind of helped the relationship build with me and I'm new. So working with what for me is new staff and working with folks, and really enjoyed that part of the process as well. And I'll mention too, so I did talk with each of the agency heads once I put the final recommendation together so that they knew what was coming ahead of time. So there shouldn't be any surprises for anyone tonight. All right, so the first change that we made was increasing the threshold to 50,000. I don't recall what the threshold was before, but it was pretty low. So that was something that I think the board wanted to see changed and really want us to focus on more of the bigger picture projects and really distinguish between those versus what might be more routine, like bigger routine maintenance type projects. So that's why we created the capital reserve maintenance part of the CIP, and that's to kind of help with those, for a county our size, kind of like I would say tweener projects, right? They're kind of too big for operational, but they're really not considered capital. So it's more your routine maintenance and trying to identify those and take care of them and address them, but not crowd out either the operational or bigger picture capital projects. And then also managing the fleet and the CIP as well, and getting those on a schedule and something that should be maintained on a regular basis and replaced on a regular basis and monitored every year. All right, so what I'm going to talk about tonight is the overview for 2027. A copy of the whole plan is in it's online and it's in the website, but we're really going to talk about this upcoming year's recommendations. And these are based on what I think is preliminary funding that would be available and contingent upon funding. I think I gave a realistic number for what a whole CIP would be for us as Amelia County.
All right, so we had $13 million worth of requests. I don't think that'd ever be possible for us, quite honestly. I don't think that's possible for any rural county in Virginia. Um, luckily we got the waste management that helps us with providing for capital improvement projects through what they pay for to the county. And so if you take that number, the average monthly fee that we get is about $210,000 a year or a month, I should say, times that out by 12 over the course of a year, gets you about 2.5 million. So then the rest of that, out of that 4 million that I'm recommending, about 1.5 comes from fund balance, which is built up over the course of years in financial management and things like that. So, and that's a little bit less than what we currently have approved in the CIP this year. And those were all new projects, is my understanding. All right, so first on the list is the schools. So they did the bulk of the requests, as you can see, and that makes sense from a asset standpoint. And they had the most buildings, they got the most fields, they have the most vehicles, probably at least the most expensive for a fleet for buses and stuff. So you can see what they're asking for. They're looking for classroom renovations. They're looking for some additional renovations to other facilities that they have. But the main thing that I think we came to a consensus on is it's one project, but it's a pretty big project, is the HVAC system at the high school and getting that renovated and some other aspects to that part of the project. So again, it's one project, but it's pretty big price tag. So I think they understand that and it seemed there's a consensus around that. All right. So again, this is new, the fleet management. This wasn't in the CIP before. So want to make sure that vehicles are getting replaced on a routine basis so they're not costing us more in the operational side of the house than what they're worth. So Public Works requested 3 work vehicles. I'm recommending we replace 2 of them. The animal control, they're the only their only request this year, I should say, is this new box truck. Their current truck is about 15 years old. That's to transport animals and in a temperature controlled climate. And then the sheriff's office requested 5 operational vehicles, and I think we can realistically fund 3 of them. So trying to give everybody a little bit of something from the fleet standpoint. And then the ambulance as well. That's one of our ambulances that was already processed or programmed to be replaced anyways. And that was discussed at the last board meeting. We had gotten a grant for that to help cover the cost for replacing that ambulance. All right, so the capital reserve maintenance part of the CIP. So these are smaller projects in dollar amount and scale between 10 to 50,000. And you can see there, we're going to get the administration building, the floor replaced and do a little bit of touch-up work. Y'all, if y'all have been in Austin's office, you've probably seen that there's a little bit of work going on in there. So that's going to wrap up. And then once that's done, we're going to get this done next to just kind of give the building a little bit of a refresh. And that's what that is. The commissioner would like some enhancements to our customer service counter area. So we're recommending that. The county signs are outside the building. So we have those nice village signs that I'm sure y'all have seen that were put in the last 12 months or so. They look pretty new. So we'd like to use that same type of sign and put those outside our current buildings that we have here in the village to make everything look uniform. And the signs that we have in the village, they're wooden signs that are, depending on where they are, they're starting to deteriorate and fade. And so we want to get those replaced before they fall apart on us, right? We don't want to have signs falling apart and looking kind of what I think is junky, and we want to look presentable and respectable and take pride in what we own and maintain, right? So what we talked about initially was doing it in phases, but the total price tag was about $70,000. So that's grand scheme of things, not very much to get it all replaced at once. So that's what I'm recommending is we do it all at once rather than do it in one phase this year and then wait 12 months to do it the next year. So at Company 2 in Manborough, they're looking for a generator to be replaced at the fire department there. Again, it's pretty important that they have that there for operation, especially what we just experienced over the last 2 months, right? I'm sure somebody here probably know somebody that had some issues with heat or power and things like that. So pretty important that we have that available. And getting the library roof replaced. So that's reached its useful life. We had somebody come out and take a look at it. They recommend that get replaced in the next 12 months or so. So that's part of this capital reserve maintenance, trying to get that replaced and upgrading some storage at the Painville station out that way, increasing storage capacity and simple upgrade for that. Now, the last part of this, you can see there's a contribution to the capital reserve maintenance part of the CIP. So it's basically us saying we're gonna commit a certain amount of money each year to put in the CIP as a reserve of sorts. So when projects or needs come up throughout the year, there's a little bit of money there that we can draw from for these smaller type projects. And that gives us some flexibility from an operational standpoint to address things as they come up. So we're at this time next year, you're already pretty much through the budget year, and something comes up, we can go back to the well, so to speak, and pull some money out from there to address things as needed. All right, so from the emergency services standpoint, the project that we recommended for this upcoming year is upgrading the Manborough station for additional capacity for apparatus down there and other upgrades to that station down there. So the Parks and Recreation, so a couple of different things here. So what we're recommending is design, architectural engineering design. That's what A&E is for replacing the press box, and I'll get into that in a second, in the recreational facility behind the library. So the press box, what's there right now is in okay condition. It's going to get replaced at some point in the next few years anyways. So the big issue is, and let me back up for a second. So do y'all know where I'm talking about at the park area down there? When you go into the park and there's the football field on the right, then I say it like down the hill on the left is baseball, t-ball, and softball field down there. So there's the press box on that side. So the field on the right, currently, I'm sure y'all have probably been to a little league game there. What happens is the road team has to cross the road, no pun intended, because the facility is right there. The referees use one area, which is supposed to be the visiting locker room, and then obviously the home team uses the home locker room. So we're supposed to accommodate the refs. So the visiting team ends up crossing that main road to go to the high school. So it's pretty busy through there. It's a safety hazard. So what we're going to do is this press box, we're going to replace that and build in there a place for the officials to take their breaks. So then the visiting team doesn't have to go anywhere they can use, but it's supposed to be the visiting team locker room. So that's what that is, trying to just maximize what we already have. And if it's going to get replaced the next few years anyways, let's just go ahead and do it now. So that's the design work. Then the following CIP, I'm going to recommend we replace it. So the recreation facilities behind the library, we got some on the library board here. So I think that you're aware of this request and been working with the staff there, and they'd like to expand the recreation. That playground, I understand, is pretty new. So we want to expand that area and add in some pickleball courts and some basketball courts and a public restroom facility and maybe a couple other pieces of recreation equipment back there as well. That's doing the design, engineering work, and doing the survey work and getting it ready. So next year we can put it out for bid and do a turnkey project for that as well. Then the third project that we're recommending is there's a field behind the elementary school that has some drainage challenges at the moment and some standing water issues, and also some, it's kind of got some small divots, not to the point where some major holes, but it needs to be regraded. It's time. And so we're recommending that we address those drainage issues out there. All right, so the sanitary district. So we had a good work session last couple of weeks with the board. We had our engineers come in from the water side of the house and the sewer side of the house to talk about our utilities needs. And a couple of things they recommended were doing some water exploration along 360 and trying to identify some potential areas we could make a new well. And then working on connecting, we have some wells in the system that just need to be connected. And so that's what we're working on for next year. And then the following year would be some more CIP actual projects. So again, doing the planning work, doing due diligence, so we can have those plans ready so we can capitalize on them. And for the public works project, we have the phase 2 of the sidewalk project. I'm sure y'all saw if you drive through the village or went by the school sometime this summer or in the fall time, VDOT was out there working on the first phase of the sidewalk project. That was to connect the school board office all the way to the elementary school. So if you go out there right now, if you haven't been out there, I encourage you to go out there and take a look, and you can park your car at the school board office and walk across the street to the middle school and walk all the way to elementary school. So the second phase is to connect the elementary school to the academy. And so there's a little stub out of a sidewalk off that road out there going to the academy and just stops. So it's supposed to make all that connected. So theoretically, I could walk from my office all the way to the school board if I want to go see Dr. Harper. I need to do that on a fall day or spring day when it's weather's nice, excuse to get out of the office. So trying to get pedestrian connectivity throughout the village, and really it's an enhancement for the community and should increase recreation as well. And the last project that we're recommending is renovating the basement in this building. So that's gonna provide us some additional workspace. The registrar is crammed for space. I don't know if anyone in here has been in there lately, but she's packed in there pretty tight. She's outgrown that, and the amount of special elections that we're having just seems to be going up every year, and primaries as well. So this would give her a dedicated space for and almost double her space of what she has right now. Part of that's for the customer service aspect when people need to go in and vote early, or they need to ask questions about voting throughout the course of the year. And another section of that area would be used for setting up voting as well. And that way there's a small voting area so we don't have to close down the Parks and Recreation building. So we have to do that every time we have to have an election right now. So if we did this, again, we're using space we already have. We're not building a new building. We're maximizing what we already own. All right, so I know that was a lot. Try to hit the highlights. Try to make a realistic recommendation from a funding standpoint and from an equitable standpoint as far as every department getting a little bit of something so people are not falling behind and that everybody can move forward, because when you have departments starting to fall behind, you're really just deferring the cost. So it's best we try and take care of everybody and give them something to keep moving forward. And these are all preliminary, of course, based upon funding availability. And when we get further in the budget cycle, the funding's there, then great. If not, then we'll have to take a hard look and really evaluate and see what we need to pare back. All right. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Any questions for Eric?
Like a new format.
Any questions or comments?
How old is that HVAC high school?
I think that's only the second one up there.
Oh, man.
They had major issues with it last year and had to do some, if you remember,
Oh, I did see.
they had to do some temporary fixes. It was like 85 degrees up there. So,
They had,
yeah.
they've requested that for multiple years. So, yeah. You know, but like you saw on there, you know, they have a lot of wants, and we think some of those wants, they can put them into their operational budget instead of sending them to the CIP. So, any questions? Comment? We appreciate all the work it's done, because John came with his calculator. A couple of us had the calculator trying to figure out how we're gonna get him with under a certain figure. And we've had everything from coming in to telling us you have X dollars, work with that X dollars, cover as much as you can, and we come in and just what do you think is the most important? And a lot of the departments kind of got on the short end of the stick some years.
I like
This-
the different buckets. I
This
think
kind of gives
that's-
different buckets
Yeah.
and tries to help as many individuals in the county as possibly can. Do it. Can I get a motion for acceptance of the CIP committee's report to go to the Board of Supervisors? Motion's been made. Can I get a second?
Second.
Morris seconded. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion to pass the CIP on to the Board of Supervisors, make a note by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any other new business that we haven't covered? Only comments I have is, appreciate all you coming. Just try to, if you can't make a meeting, just let us know so we know if we have a quorum or not. Supposedly next month we will have the comprehensive plan. If VDOT, everybody got the photograph that he sent out. One thing came out this year that we hadn't had is VDOT wanted to know what roads they thought needed to be improved.
Tell them.
Well, you know,
All of them.
Come to a
They
board-
don't- they
come to
don't
a
take-
meeting.
to that because it's pretty expensive. So one of them that picked up right strong was 616. A lot of businesses being built on that, and it's getting pretty narrow, like from the substation onto Lodore Road through there. You've got a lot more traffic now than you used to have, and I'm assuming with the digester in my area, some trucks are coming in that way they're not supposed to, but I think that's due to the address. They keep giving the wrong addresses. So that's some more tractor trailers. And then we got loggers on that road that has a sawmill on it. And then, of course, the poultry service. And now the little Mennonite store. It's amazing how many cars are on that road, how narrow it is. So that's one of them. And the other one was, let me think. I don't have that with me. You know the other road number? It was 616, and then was it 681? No, I don't believe it was 681. But there's two roads on there.
681 from Black Creek to the county line or something like that.
Could it be? Could be. Those were the two that VDOT picked out. I think we had 2 or 3 others. I talked to some logger and he said 602. Somewhere down around Manbury has pretty narrow and pretty big drop offs. But they're the only ones that I knew of. Only other comment I have is supposedly the digesters told us it'd be going by March 1. I think they got a lot to do in 1 week. But that's they keep moving it. But it's they're doing a whole lot. It's not a whole lot more digging that they're doing. It's just kind of testing everything out. They did do some methane in the last week of December. And they tested out to be, I think, 99% pure. So they were very happy on that. And since then, they've just been using that type of methane to test all the valves and all. So, I don't have anything else other than I want to thank Travis again for his time on the board, and I want to welcome you here. If you have any questions, contact any of us, and we'll try to answer them. That don't mean we do.
I appreciate it.
And does anyone else have any comments? Till right now, looks like we will have a meeting next month. And it's been 3 or 4 months. And of course, if you look in your packet as to what we covered last year, I guess we accomplished right much during that area. And then the zoning committee will try to get together pretty soon to set a date up to see if your representative can come in or someone from that field to help us out a little bit. And I guess the zoning committee kind of needs to get together to see what ideas, timing we'd like to have, get that done. You know, but other than that, I guess everybody disclosed their real estate holdings. It was in the back of the packet that I forgot to sign early. Did bring it in, and of course the annual report. But other than that, having no other business, I'll adjourn the meeting and appreciate everyone's attention. And if you have any other questions, contact me or someone on the commission, and we'll try to get the answer. We don't always have the answers, but we'll certainly try to get the answer. Thank you.